Hi everybody, happy Tuesday. The last Tuesday in April. Hard to believe. I'm going to continue on with my tour of Lake County history here and talk about Mentor today. Mentor, the biggest, biggest city in Lake County, home to my high school, Lake Catholic, home to my family now. So Mentor was founded in not founded, but the first settler, Charles Parker, who was a surveyor with the Connecticut Land Company, came here in 1797 and built a cabin on the Mentor Marsh, and he paved the way for other pioneers to the Western Reserve Territory. In 1811, Charles had moved on to Milan, Ohio, but his younger brother Clark came here and would spend the rest of his life here, raising 13 children. Clark, according to Mentor's History website, went on to become the captain of the Ohio militia in the War of 1812. And then in 1810, the first schoolhouse was opened in an abandoned barn in Mentor. The teacher was paid 75 cents a week to teach. In 1815, Mentor Township officially formed with 460 residents. In 1818, Mentor lost the area along its southern boundary to the newly established Kirtland Township. In 1819, the first Mentor Library Company opened the first subscription library in the Western Reserve. So the first sort of library in this entire Western Reserve in Mentor in 1819. In 1823, mail and stagecoach service was instituted. In 1825, the Erie Canal opened, which allowed Mentor products, including wheat, wool, lumber, cheese, and whiskey, access to a wider market. In 1840, Lake County, the smallest county in Ohio, was formed. In 1851, the Cleveland, Painesville, and Ashtabula Railroad reached Mentor. The Mentor Township School District was formed in 1853 after Ohio mandates the creation of boards of education. In 1855, Mentor Village, consisting of 3,000 acres, was incorporated in the center of Mentor Township. Nathan Corning became the first mayor. And then in 1861, the Civil War begins. The second company of volunteers to depart is made up from men from Mentor, Willoughby, and Kirtland, and they became members of the 7th Ohio Volunteer Infantry. At the end of the Civil War, 1865, there was apparently 1,250 people living in Mentor Township, with 416 in Mentor Village. In 1876, a U.S. congressman by the name of James N. Garfield purchased a farm in Mentor. In 1880, he was nominated and ultimately elected to be president. And of course, in 1881, he was assassinated. Let's see. The 1890s were big for development of resorts on Little Mountain, as well as cottages along the lake. And, obviously grew and grew and grew in the 1900s into what would become the largest city in Lake County. So Mentor has a pretty cool history. In the 1940s, there was a post-World War II housing boom here, which really exploded the population. In 1950, the population of Mentor Township and Mentor Village was 8,492. In 1852, Eleanor Garfield, the granddaughter of the president, became Mentor's first female mayor. She also worked with the Ohio governor on relocating the route of proposed State Route 2, so it wouldn't bisect the new industrial park. So it's pretty, I've taken Route 2 my entire life. To think of somebody not that long before I was born working with the governor to decide where that actually placed is something I never thought of, obviously. In 1961, the Great Lakes Mall opened. And let's see, anything else interesting here? By 1970, you talk about a population boom. So in 1950, what did I say? It was at 8,000. By 1970, the population was at 39,000. Let's see. Sorry for the delay. This is riveting stuff, I know here. Yeah, so Menor has a cool history going way back. You know, volunteers went to wars as old as the War of 1812 from Menor, which is pretty cool. A president's house is here. What is regarded as the first presidential library started here. And I know the city of Menor has a lot of pride in their community. And it goes back a long way. So that is our third city on the tour, and hope everybody has a good week.